Midday. Well, I was just reflecting on life and things that have been going on, and I was really encouraged actually by Jeremiah's, the prophet's letter and the writings that you can find in the book of Jeremiah, particularly in chapter 29, where most of us, or a lot of us, might know the very famous passage in Jeremiah that gets quoted a lot. And it says, that God says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil. Plan to give you a future and a hope." Now that is an incredibly encouraging passage. That is encouragement in so many different levels, but it's sometimes dangerous when we get an encouraging passage and we just apply it directly to our circumstances, and then we begin to think, how is God even operating in this situation? So let me give you just a couple of contextual things, a couple of things around this verse that just help us to give a few anchors on this passage. So picking up from Jeremiah 29 verse 4, this is actually what God says. It says, "The Lord of hosts says, the God of Israel, to all the exiles whom I have sent into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon." So basically what's happening here is the Jews, the Israelites were promised a land to be able to occupy and to live in, and they were not faithful to their commitment to God. Therefore, God sent these people into exile as a form of his judgment. And now the people of God are fragmented or disconnected from their place of worship, the temple, and from their promised land, where the place where God was going to reign. And now they find themselves here in Babylon. This is not a Jewish place. This is not a place of Israel. This is a place for the pagans, I guess, the rest of the world. And so this is what God instructs the people to do: build houses and live in them, plant gardens and eat their produce, take wives and have sons and daughters, take wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage so that they may bear sons and daughters, multiply there and do not decrease, but seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray that the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare. And then in verse 10 it says, "For thus says the Lord, when 70 years are completed for Babylon, I will visit you and I will fulfill to you my promise and bring you back to this place." So how is this encouraging? How do we draw some strength and encouragement and comfort from this current situation? Because the Israelites found themselves in a really horrible place where they were taken away from their land. And God's instruction to them was not to try and escape, to try and break the barriers of the law and do things that are inappropriate. But his instruction to them was, over the next 70 years, I'm not going to rescue you, but you dig deep roots and work for the benefit of those around you. The people that were hearing this at the time would not be able to receive the blessings and promises that God was promising and blessing the people of God with. And so this is the encouragement that we can take away from this, in that right now, in this moment, we are living in exile. We are not at home. We are actually, heaven is our home, and earth is currently just a place we are passing through. And so God has said, hey, work for the welfare of our nation. Work for the welfare of the places and people that you are around. But ultimately, there'll be a time where I will be true to my promises, and I will bring blessing, and I will bring prosperity and welfare to you. But in the meantime, before you reach the promised land, spend time to invest in people, build people up, and love and encourage people. And I guess when I see the full context of this, I am so encouraged that I don't have to try and escape my current circumstances, but I can actually rest in the plan of God that I might be able to be a benefit and a blessing to other people. And